Please don't listen to the myth of the top paying certificates. If you are in IT, continue to watch this video and you'll find out why. Hi everyone. So at the end of each year or at the beginning of each year, we get a lot of videos on YouTube and on the internet. They're talking about the top paying IT certifications. And I think this is nothing more than a big lie or a myth or an illusion. Why is that? I have looked at these reports and I find out, for example, that if you are an AWS cloud practitioner, then your salary is $120 or $130 or $140,000 a year. That is not true. If all I know on earth is cloud practitioner, I'm not going to be paid $130, $140, and $150,000 US. I lived in the US and I know what's happening in the US, and I know nobody is going to pay that salary for someone that all he or she knows is cloud practitioner. The way these reports are built is they invite a lot of respondents. I get those all the time. Can you please help us with this survey and share your salary information and all that? And then they will be asking, what certificates do you have? Then maybe someone who has been in IT for 20, 25 years as a business analyst or as a CIO or as a CTO, and he learned about the cloud and he went and he took the Azure Fundamentals course or maybe the AWS Cloud Practitioner exam, because he or she want to know the lingo, the acronyms, the basics of the cloud. So they got this certificate, and based on that certificate they became now certified, but they are making $200,000 US a year. Then that report will take that as a cloud practitioner value in the market, and they will add it to the grinder to come up with the average, which is absolutely wrong, right? So what do we do? Do we follow these reports? I would say these reports, you can just go through them to find the hot certificates, but then through the report and the information they are saying in the garbage, and look at the job role based reports. So now when they send an email or a survey and they ask if you are a DevOps engineer, if you are a cybersecurity professional, if you are a senior site reliability engineer or a cloud administrator or a cloud engineer, that is representative of what this job role is going to pay. And then what I do is I look at that, and here's an example. A Skillsoft IT skills and salary report in 2023. You can find it easily on Google. If you go on skillsoft.com, then they will ask you for a business email, and then you can download the report. So you can have the original one of this. And as you scroll through in page 18, you'll find this is the compensation by job role. This is representative of the information you are looking for, especially if you are looking to transition into that or part of IT or that career track or path into IT. So for example, if you get into cloud, you'll find that the average in the US and in the other continents is really high. So for example, the average in the US is $165,000 US a year. And if you look around all these figures, you'll find that it is the second. Here is the first one, the executives, and you are next to the executives for the average respondents. Okay, but I'm a beginner. I'm going to shift. I'm going to study a boot camp, and then I'm going to get into that. That's fine. Maybe you'll start at the 120, and in 2 years, 3 years, with 1 or 2 moves, you can get to the 150, 160, or maybe more if you are more talented and if you acquired a lot of certification, relevant certificates along the way. All right? So always look by the job role and do not look by the top certificates, because that could be deceptive. It could be inaccurate, and the averages, I have spotted many of these where the averages were unrealistic, completely unrealistic. I've worked in the Middle East, I've worked in Australia, in India, in Canada, in the US, and I have an idea about what is paid, and I'm also following up on what's happening on a lot of recruitment websites. You can also go on talent.com, glassdoor.com, and if you have something, just to verify this information, you want to become a cloud DevOps engineer, for example, a cloud solutions architect, an AWS solutions architect, then you can go on Glassdoor or talent.com or any job site that you know can provide you some salary information based on continuous surveys they do, and specify the country, and they will come up with the figures, which will, I'm sure it's going to be very comparable to these numbers. So that's the most authentic that is done once a year by Skillsoft. All right, so please pay attention to that and don't fall for the top certification and take that certificate and you'll be in the 120, because I have lived with a lot of my students who thought that getting the AWS Solutions Architect Associate was enough, and then they found the reality after they have finished the certificates, applied for jobs, and then they were asking, do you know Jenkins? Do you know Terraform? What about your Linux skills? Do you have any automation and scripting skills? Do you have development? Do you have programming? Do you have Python? Do you have this? Do you have that? Do you have Docker? Do you have Kubernetes? Depending on the job, of course. And they realized that the cloud by itself, despite the misleading reports telling that this should be 140, 150,000, they realized they will not get the job, not mentioning that what's the pay and all that. All right, so please keep that in mind. Please subscribe to the channel, activate the notification, support us with a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.